Part 5, Modern Times and Money. So let's see how money is looked at today, and we're going to look at how we measure money today. And before we get to the two measurements we have, we will talk about liquidity. This is how we define what gets put into the money supply. Assets which are more liquid are things that are more likely to be used as money. Liquidity is known as the degree to which an asset can be converted into purchasing power without loss of time nor market value. So what does that mean? Well, give you an example. Your car is not a very liquid asset. You could sell your car today and you would very likely get a asking price way below its market value. If you want to get the true market value of your car, it's going to take time. You got to clean it up, you got to wash it, get it tuned up, got to advertise, got to take phone calls or text messages. You have to set up appointments to have a test drive, you have to haggle. So to get the true market value, it might take you 2, 3, 4 weeks. So if you want to convert your car into purchasing power, it's going to take some time. If you want to convert it right now, you're going to lose market value. So your car, you can't have it both ways. So what kind of assets can you convert into purchasing power without loss of market value? Well, cash. So the most liquid asset there is probably cash. Maybe, it depends. Some people don't take cash right now. I know a lot of merchants with the COVID vaccine, or not vaccine, I wish it was a vaccine, with the coronavirus. A lot of merchants don't want to deal in cash. They don't want to touch the dollar bills, the coins, and so they have gone completely online. So you only can buy things with your phone or credit card, things like that. And so maybe cash is not the most liquid asset anymore. Technology does change things. So the way we define the money supply is by what assets are your most liquid assets. And your most liquid assets would be the most narrowest definition of money, and that's known as M1. So M1 is what your book calls transactions money. This is money that we use most, or this is not money, this is your assets that are used mostly for transactions. And so if I have any kind of currency, paper money and coins in my pocket, well, that's probably for transactions. To be honest, since the coronavirus hit, I've almost used no coins at all and no coins of currency. So all my transactions are been with phone or credit cards or online purchases. What goes into M1 would be currency, paper money and coins in the non-banking public's hands. So it cannot be in a bank vault. If it's in a bank vault, it's not being used as money, therefore we don't count it as money. Plus transactions type accounts. These are your demand deposits and other checkable deposits. Demand deposits are checking accounts. If you have a checking account, most likely it's demand deposit, especially if it's in a regular bank. If it's in a credit union or if your checking account pays interest, that typically may not be a demand deposit, but it might be considered other checkable deposits. Demand deposits is a legal term. This means that if you have your money in a demand deposit, which it would be a regular checking account in a bank, you can demand your money at any point in time, and the bank must give it to you in the cash form. You may think, of course, they have to do that. Well, that's not true if it's not a demand deposit. So if your checking account pays interest, most likely it's not a demand deposit, then the bank does not have to give it to you at that time. Or if you have money in a savings account, that's not a demand deposit. If you have $50,000 in a savings account and you want to withdraw it today, the bank has the right to say, sorry, you have to give us prior notification. I think it would be 7 days. I'll maybe double check on that. But they have the right to mandate 7 working days of prior notification before you take money out of your savings account. Most of us have not seen that because that is not a good way to deal with your customers, and most of us only have small amounts in savings accounts. Banks have the right to do that because if you have a large amount of money deposited in a bank, most likely to be in a savings account getting some interest, in which case the money may not be there. And we'll talk more about that later. If the money's not there, then they have to find ways to raise it to pay back your deposit. But a demand deposit, there's no time limit. and if the bank cannot honor that right then and there, they're in trouble. They're in violation of their charter. So, two kind of assets. They're going to be paper currency. Currency is paper coins, paper money and coins that are not in a vault. And then transaction type accounts. I'll call these maybe demand deposit type accounts in my examples. But demand deposits will be used to describe all types of transaction accounts. And these would be demand deposits and other checkable deposits. So when I say demand deposits, I'm meaning all these things. Are your checking accounts? Now I have traveler's checks here as a question mark. If you look at your textbook, they have traveler's checks there most likely. I was just doing a little research online today, and I found that traveler's checks, which used to be an M1 ever since I've been teaching, is no longer there, which is fine. For a long time I wondered why they were still there. For those who don't know, traveler's checks were a way that you would travel and you would be able to purchase things. Go back to the 1960s, 70s, very few of us had credit cards. A few had like the Diners card, something like that, Diners Club card. So if you want to travel from here to New York City, here to South America, you would take traveler's checks. What you would do is you go into your bank, and then you would essentially buy the traveler's checks. The most famous ones were American Express. Their slogan was "Don't leave home without them." And so you go into the bank and you would purchase American Express traveler's checks for a small fee. Sometimes, or maybe not. Now I don't remember. Maybe there was a fee or not. I don't know. But what you would do is you would say get $1,000 from your account, and then you would sign your signature in front of the teller, and there will be another spot for signature, which you would sign again when you want to redeem your traveler's checks at a bank in New York City or at a foreign bank. And then the teller at that bank would look at your signature to see if they match up, and if they did match up, then they would give you say if you're in New York City, if it's a $20 traveler's checks, they'll give you $20. Or if we're in London, you could exchange that for $20 worth of British pounds. Merchants would take them as well, so you could actually pay for your restaurant meal with the traveler's checks as long as they would accept them, and then the restaurant would just take them to the bank and redeem those for cash at the bank. But nowadays, you don't need traveler's checks. You take your credit card, you take your ATM cards. That's all you need now. So they were disappearing, and the Federal Reserve finally said, you know what, we can't even count them anymore. They're so small. Nonetheless, there might be some around. If your grandfather has some traveler's checks, they're still good. Have them sign them, and then bring them into a bank, or have them come into a bank after the virus is gone, I think, and have them sign them, and then redeem them for cash. American Express always liked these things because people who never redeemed them meant that American Express had your money, and if these things were destroyed or whatnot, then they would just keep your money. In September of 2020, M1 currency amount was $1,929.4 billion, almost $2 trillion, and demand deposits and other checkable deposits was $3.5 trillion, for a grand total of almost $5.5 trillion. That should be it. Dot there. And then we have another measurement called M2. Now please remember that M2 includes everything in M1. So look at it this way. Here's M1. And this would be your currency, coins, and check accounts. And this is M2. So everything in M1 is in M2. Kind of a lousy picture, but... And then it adds other assets. So other assets out here would be savings accounts, small time deposits, under $100,000. These would be your CD accounts, certificate of deposits, plus money market accounts. Money market account, you'd go to a firm like T. Roy Price. You would open up a money market account with them. They would use your money to usually buy government bonds, government notes, government bills, and then you would get part of the interest back from those government securities they bought. These accounts are not insured by FDIC, so they're a little riskier, but they're all backed by, your money is put in government bonds, so it's pretty darn safe. It's thought that these things are a little bit less liquid. In the old days, when I was a kid, I would have to go down to my bank if I had a savings account. I would put money into my savings account because they'd be paying, 5.25% at the time? Where my checking account paid no interest, but I cannot buy things with my savings account. I had no checks on my savings account, And so I'd have to go down to my bank, stand in line, fill out some paperwork, and have, say, $10,000 taken out of my savings account, and then put that money into my checking account so I could pay for my college tuition, things like that. Nowadays, you don't do that anymore. I mean, I haven't been to my bank for, gosh, 5-6 years. I go online, I transfer money from my savings account to my checking account. You can do it with your phone. You can do it, I can do it anywhere. And therefore, my savings accounts are pretty much as liquid as my checking account is now. So nowadays, due to technology, all these things are much more liquid. Money market accounts is still a bit slower. It still takes a little bit of time. I can transfer that money into my bank account. They might put a hold on that for like 5 or 6 days to make sure it's good. Small time deposits, these are CD accounts. I don't have one that I've broken so far. Broken the agreement. I mean, you could break these agreements. They're like maybe a 1-year CD. You can break it. They won't keep any of your principal. What they would do is give you less interest than they promised. So I'm not sure I can do that online. I may have to go into the bank to do that, but I can do that in an afternoon if I have to, I think. I might be able to do it online. I don't know. It's a September 2020. M2 was almost $18.5 trillion. Okay, stop there.